stories yet untold. Passion ignites like a blazing fire. Knowledge takes us higher, higher. Out of the box where the wild ones play, we see the game in a whole new way. Living loud, hearts in motion. Sports with soul, pure devotion. The field's alive with endless dreams. We're more than stats, we're the in-between. A slam dunk thought.
Good morning, Raider Nation. It's the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry here, also known as Raider Batman. I hope everybody's doing well on this fine Friday morning. Day one of the draft, round one in the books here, and of course, no surprise. The Raiders make their selection, and it is Fernando Mendoza. But before we get into that, I want to let you guys know to check out our friend and your friend, everybody's friend, Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. You can reach Big Al 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. His office in New Jersey is located in Cherry Hill on 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. And he has 2 offices in Pennsylvania, one in Philadelphia and one in Pittsburgh. We got a whole rivalry thing going on here between the Penguins and the Flyers, and what happened in last night's draft between the Eagles and the Steelers. Jason Fine playing both sides of the fence in Pittsburgh and in Philadelphia. His office in Philadelphia is located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. And his office in Pittsburgh is located on 500 Grand Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. That's Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. All right, here we are, back. So like I said, round one in the books here. We got the ticker rolling at the bottom, thanks to the guys last night that were live during the draft. I was at my daughter's softball game. So normally I do go live with the guys that I think the last 3 years. But pretty much, I think since I've been doing this, I think I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years now. But every year I've been live, at least for the most of the first round of the draft before I'd leave for work. But yesterday I could not. But yeah. You know, the guys that knocked it out of the park did a hell of a job, and Paul has a ticker rolling there at the bottom, so good stuff. But yeah, the Raiders select Fernando Mendoza. No surprise, really. They selected number 1 overall. There were some rumors and rumblings about potential Raiders trading the pick and dropping back, collecting more picks. And also, there was some fleeting rumors of potentially another Max Crosby trade. There was rumors of the Raiders trading back and traded Max Crosby, and that would have been something. Ending up with like 3 picks or whatever, 3 first-round picks. So there was a couple teams with multiple first-round picks that they could have made trades with. That those teams may have wanted to move up, but all in all, it did not happen. So, and I didn't think any of that was going to happen. I know if anything, I thought there was going to be a small chance that the Rays were going to trade back, but I didn't think they were going to trade Max Crosby. I feel like that ship has sailed for right now. I wouldn't be overly shocked if come trade deadline time or what have you, if the Raiders are not playing well and they want to explore a trade again, and Max is playing well, looking healthy, that it doesn't pop up again. But again, as of right now, I think that's just dead in the water. And I think it should be. Max has declared that he wants to be a Raider for life. That's who he is. He doesn't want to leave again. I don't know. There was a lot of talk, a lot of chatter that after that deal fell through, that hopefully the Raiders and Max Crosby can mend the fences, and there's no hurt feelings over the Raiders trying to trade him, which I didn't understand because the last time I was on, the stuff I've heard or read online was that Max and Mark Davis agreed that they'd search for a trade partner for Mac under certain circumstances, and that would be, the Raiders getting what they wanted for Max, nothing less. And it didn't happen. They did get what they wanted from the Ravens, but it all fell through. And that was that. So I just don't see it happening now. Max says he wants to be a Raider, and we'll take him at his word and move on from it. So hopefully we don't have to go through all this nonsense again here in a couple months. But you never know. You just never know. Uh, Another big signing was the Raiders picking up Kirk Cousins, and there was some talk that with the Raiders picking up Cousins, does that mean potentially that they don't draft Mendoza? Maybe they drop back and either draft quarterback a little bit later, or they don't draft quarterback at all. They look at next year's draft. There was some talk of that. But again, you look at the contract for Kirk Cousins, and it's a 5-year deal on paper, but in reality, it's pretty much a 1-year deal. Most of this year's salary being paid by the Falcons, and the Raiders, I think, paying like $1 million this year, and then it would be like $10 million next year for some sort of bonus or whatever it is. But it basically comes out to a 1-year, $11.5 million deal, and basically that's all you're going to see Kirk Cousins is with the Raiders just for this season, and which isn't a bad deal. I think it's a good deal for the Raiders. It's a good deal for Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has he's very familiar with the system that he'll be coming into, and with working with this coaching staff in Minnesota, I believe it was, and it just a relationship there, and Kurt kind of needs to build his name back up, is what I'm trying to get at. Between him and Kubiak, the familiarity there. Well, I just said it. I can't believe I said it. I struggle with that word, familiarity. I can't say it. Damn it. But anyway, with him being familiar with Kubiak, and from his time in Minnesota, it's a good opportunity for Kirk Cousins to kind of revamp his stock and kind of remind people of who he is and what he can do, because he has been a very, very good quarterback for most of his career, barring some minor big time televised games he seems to struggle in for whatever reason. But for the most part, most of his career, he's been very good. So it's a good chance for Kirk Cousins to reestablish who he is, and it also gives the Raiders time to bring Fernando Mendoza along slowly. They don't have to rush him in. Now, it's not Kirk Cousins' job to teach Fernando Mendoza, I believe. It's not. Maybe help him along with some of the nuances that come at being a NFL quarterback, where you're viewed as the leader. When things go wrong, it's your fault. When things go right, it's the team's. It's a team. It's one like how to deal with that kind of thing. Which playing for big time college football, you kind of get that a little bit, but it's going to be a much bigger dose, much more scrutiny, and he could help Fernando along with how to deal with media pressures and stuff like that. But besides that, I would say it's Fernando knows how to play quarterback, and it's not Kirk Cousins' job. It's more you're looking more at Kubiak and stuff like that, Clint Kubiak, and it's his job and his coaching staff's job to bring Fernando along to the point where they feel like he can be a solid starting quarterback in the NFL. He's not going to be a Peyton Manning. He's not going to be some sort of world beater. But what you're looking for is a steady hand at the quarterback position for many years to come. Somebody that's not going to hinder your progress by making stupid decisions and consistent mistakes, and somebody that's going to continuously get better and lead the team and be a respectable leader as well. And it's something that the Raiders haven't really had, I think, since Derek Carr. I mean, I'm a big Derek Carr guy. A lot of people are down on Derek Carr in his time with the Raiders, but all he did was just love being a Raider. So I mean, I don't know how you could fault the man for that. And he played well for the most part with the Raiders. There were some times where he was very frustrating. not running the ball, when he had the opportunity to, throwing the ball into bad situations. But for the most part, Derek Carr was a very good quarterback. He carried himself well. He was a leader on the field. He was a leader in the locker room, and that's all you can really ask, from somebody like Derek Carr. So, uh, yeah, off on a tangent there about Derek Carr, but I got a bunch of comments here, and I'm going to try to make sense of this. I don't know how to say what the name is here, but it says WWE Superstars, question mark. I'm not sure what you're asking there, but it kind of makes me think. I used to do a show, the Atomic Drop podcast here on Out of the Box Sports, but I kind of stopped doing. I kind of fell off of watching wrestling again. But my interest has been peaked recently with this Danhausen character, and my whole algorithm on all forms of social media is like all Danhausen right now. It's like, and I can't stop watching. I just get a kick out of it. The whole you are cursed thing, and everything's housing. Welcome to the silver and black Lair housing. Stuff like that. Out of the box sports housing. I just love it. I get a kick out of it. So it's kind of piquing my interest a little bit. But I haven't watched wrestling in a while steadily. I kind of keep up with it by watching clips here and there. I know who's doing what and who's champion and all that stuff, but I haven't watched it steadily in a while. Just don't have the time for it. Oh Jesus, I don't. We got Tara. All right, Tara Rodriguez dos Santos, 6977. I think I got that right. Says hello, Tara. Thanks for checking out the show. And WWE superstar again, WWE wrestler. I am not a WWE wrestler. Chan Ho Park. I am not Chan Ho Park either. Or He Stop Choice. He Stop Choi, I think you're saying there. Yes, that's He Stop Choi. Those are baseball players. John Cena. Oh, you can't see me. Brock Lesnar. Do you think Brock Lesnar is retired? That's what I want to know. You think Brock Lesnar retired? I mean, that was kind of a surprise from WrestleMania. I saw the clips of that from I think it was on ESPN and various other media outlets. But that's interesting to see if Brock Lesnar retired, kind of go out on his own terms without the whole tour like John Cena did, and weird matches, and it's like stuff like this. Some of the John Cena run for his retirement run. So some of the parts of that I wasn't a big fan of. Some of it I did like, him and Cody Rhodes and The Rock stuff. I thought was all right. John Cena turning heel, I thought it was all right. I got what they were doing. And then just some of the matches that he did after that, I didn't like. I didn't care for. Whatever. I'm big John Cena fan. I always dug the whole gimmick, the colorful stuff, the never give up stuff. Like John Cena. How tall are you? I used to be 6'1", or close to 6'1". A little bit under 6'1", but not anymore. I think it's just under 6 foot now. I'm shrinking. I don't know what those symbols are. All right, so back to the Raiders here. So the Raiders, number 1 overall pick, set in stone. Fernando. I wouldn't expect to see Fernando week 1. There is always that possibility. Once the schedule does come out, you kind of see where the bye week is. If the Raiders are struggling, you come up to the bye week. Kirk Cousins is struggling. Perhaps we do see Fernando Mendoza during the season next year, but I wouldn't be overly shocked if we don't see Fernando Mendoza at all next season. It wouldn't be surprising, unless it's in a limited role, like Cousins gets hurt or what have you. It's going to be interesting to see if they hold on to Aiden O'Connell, or if they go out and look for another backup quarterback and trade Aiden away. I haven't heard officially that Aiden O'Connell has asked for a trade. You can't really blame him if he did, but it almost seems like a foregone conclusion that he probably would be traded. So especially since they signed Cousins, and I don't feel bad for Aiden O'Connell. He's backup quarterback making good money, all that good stuff. But growing up, I was always a big fan of Marcus Tuiasosopo, who was a Raiders backup quarterback for many years. I always thought he deserved a shot, and he never got that shot as the everyday starter for the Raiders. And I kind of feel that same way about Aiden O'Connell. I feel like he should have gotten the shot a couple times, but for some reason did not. And then when he did, he gets hurt and all that other stuff. But when he did perform, he performed for the most part fairly well. Yeah, he wasn't going to go out there and win 14 games and whatnot, but he was not he wasn't a terrible option. Let's just say he's a backup quarterback is what he is. He's not. I don't think he can be in every game starter uh, at a very high level. He could be in every game starter, probably get you to 500. Maybe lead you to a wild card spot, but he's not going to win you divisions and stuff like that unless the division's shit. Uh, but I do like Aiden O'Connell. The strong arm, he's accurate, smart. Just lacks the mobility. But even though I thought his pocket awareness is very good, but we'll see if the Raiders trade him away. And I do think they'll trade him away during this draft. I don't think it'll wait after. I think they'll trade him away. I don't think today, but maybe sometime Saturday. Maybe get a couple like a fourth or a fifth round pick. Probably not a fourth. You're probably looking at it somewhere between a 5 and a 7th round, fifth, sixth, or fifth or 7th round pick, somewhere in that range there, 5th, 6th, or 7th for Aiden O'Connell. That's what I think is going to end up happening. I wouldn't expect him to be a Raider past Saturday. If he is, that's fine, whatever. But just a guess. I have nothing to base this off of. I haven't heard anything or read anything about it. So that's just a feeling that I have, a guess, and we'll see what happens. There's a high likelihood that I will be wrong because I am wrong about most things. I also do believe that we could see Michael Mayer being moved. I haven't heard anything in a while about Michael Mayer being traded. I don't want Michael Mayer to be traded, but if the Raiders are looking to accumulate picks, you kind of look at the roster, like who can they trade away to get some decent picks. And Michael Mayer maybe can get you a 3rd round pick. I do believe there's a ton of potential in Mayer. We just haven't seen it yet. Being overshadowed by Brock Bowers and the injury that he had last season. Bowers, Mayer filled in very nicely there. He wasn't Brock Bowers. He wasn't catching a ton of passes, but he was doing a good job. Very good blocker, good hands for a bigger tight end, and yeah, I could see a team giving up a 3rd round draft pick for Michael Mayer. He doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on his body. I think he did miss some time. I think it was last year he missed a little bit of time for injury. If I'm correct, I could be wrong about that. And then he also had the I think mental health issue the year before, where he missed a chunk of the season. But besides that, he's a fairly healthy tight end who's good. He's a good tight end. So I wouldn't young. He's also young yet. So I wouldn't be overly surprised if the Raiders did look to possibly trade Mayer away. Again, I don't want him to. I like the thoughts of having Bowers and Mayer there. But if they want to accumulate more picks somewhere between the 3rd and 4th round, that could be a possibility, I think, with the Raiders. WWE superstar Undertaker. I am not the Undertaker, but I do like the Undertaker. I did like the Undertaker. He was one of my favorite all-time wrestlers, and yeah, if that's what you're asking, I'm not sure. Kaepernick's checking in. I said Kaepernick. Kaepernick's checking in. What's up, Mike? Guys, says, what position do you think the Raiders are targeting in the 2nd and 3rd rounds? You know what? You're stealing the words out of my mouth here. Let's talk about that here real quick. So, my thoughts on the 2nd and 3rd round: the Raiders have the 36th and the 67th overall pick, I believe. I have it written down here. I believe it's 67th. It's definitely the 36th. Yeah. The 36th and 67th overall picks here coming up on 2nd and 3rd rounds. So I think they're going defense, Pat. I really do. I think they're going to go defense, and they still kind of need receiver help, but it's not, I think, a necessity. Offensive line, still a lot, to be uh, settled there yet. But again, I don't think it's a a pressing need. I feel like they did a decent job in the offseason getting Tyler Linderbaum at center and kind of just smoothing out the rest. Getting JPJ back healthy at guard, I think, is going to be huge. And watching Charles Grant and Caleb Rogers progress, and hopefully a full season of Colton Miller being healthy, I think could be absolutely huge. So I don't think it's going to be offensive line. I don't think it's going to be wide receiver. I don't think it's going to be running back. They do need another running back to kind of fill out the running back room. But I think it's going to be defense, and I think it's going to be defensive backfield. There's still some pretty good cornerbacks available yet, safety. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm thinking round two, going cornerback. Is that what I was thinking? Let me double check here. Yeah, I was thinking round two going cornerback, and then three offsetting out with safety. But either way, if they go safety in round two, cornerback round three, I'm fine there. But just I think it's going to be cornerback in round two. Looking at Jamad McCoy from out of Tennessee, coming off he missed all last season with torn ACL. So there's that. But before that, highly touted cornerback out of Tennessee, had a pretty good 2024 season. Positional rank, according to ESPN, is ranked second at cornerback. Overall ranked 16th, but again, the torn ACL, it's kind of why he dropped. Avion Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson. We also have available yet Colton Hood, cornerback out of Tennessee. Overall ranking of 31, according to ESPN. So there's some pretty decent options yet at cornerback, with the Raiders having the fourth pick in the second round. So one of those guys are going to be there. Now, I'm a huge believer, Pap, in taking the best available. And I don't know who these NFL teams. They have their own scouting. Scouting coaches. I don't know what the hell you call them. Scouts. They have their own scouts. They rank these guys. I believe. I don't think they go off of like me, like going off of the ESPN guys or the NFL.com guys or the Sports Illustrated guys, Kuiper or what have you. They're not like some schlub like me. They have people getting paid to rank and rate these guys. So what ESPN might have as best available, the Raiders may have something totally different. But looking at best available cornerback, Jamad McCoy, Avion Terrell, Colton Hood, just a couple names there. For me, I'm thinking Colton Hood out of Tennessee, cornerback. I think he could be very likely. I'm not 100% sure about Jamad McCoy, just because of the ACL thing. So he missed all of last season. I still think it takes a whole other season besides that to really fully recover from any kind of torn ligament. And you see a lot of people with torn ACLs, they come back, and that first season where they're actually playing, they're still kind of getting their footing, their confidence back, and kind of learning how to do certain things at full speed yet. It's one thing to do it in practice, or it's one thing to do it in rehab, but get out there full speed without thinking about it, cutting or turning or twisting, that's a whole different animal. And sometimes it takes a whole next season before they're back to where they were before the injury. So that has me that one gives me pause. But also looking at safety, we also have Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the safety out of Toledo, big strong tackler. But the problem is, Pap, be 100% honest with everybody, I don't watch a lot of college football, so I don't know anything. I don't know shit about anybody. So I just, I do a little bit of reading, I watch some highlight films, and that's as far as I can go. But since I don't watch a whole lot of it, I don't know a whole lot of it, and when it comes to times like this, it screws me. So I just kind of go off of rankings and watching some stuff and reading the reports. That's just where we're at. Um, Brandon Cisse, Sissy, I guess I think it's Sissy, how you say it. Cornerback out of South Carolina. I was watching some of his stuff. I really liked him. Keontae Scott, also cornerback out of Miami. He's an option a little bit later, maybe in the third round, or if the Raiders are able to trade back up into the second round. D'Angelo Pons out of Indiana, undersized cornerback. Is a possible round 3 option. According to rankings. Tradan Stokes, safety. Tradan Stukes. I'm sorry, Stukes, safety there. That's an option. I think potentially late second, early third. Again, if the Raiders are able to trade up, maybe get back into the second round, I think that'd be awesome. But again, it's how do they do that? Do they package a third with the player? Do they package third with a fourth? And maybe does that get them back up in a second? I'm not really sure how it's gonna work out for them. But I do think that they make some moves today, trade wise, to get more picks. So the Pap says, who is your receiver number 1? I guess Naylor is. We traded for Jalen Naylor in the offseason, and it seems like he's going to be our receiver number 1. We still have Trey Tucker. It's going to be interesting to see what is Jack Besh. What is Deontay Thornton Jr.? Who are these guys? Last year they didn't get a whole lot of burn for one reason or another, whether it was a Pete Carroll thing or they just weren't progressing in practice to warrant more on the field time. I think that's a crock of shit, to be 100% honest with you. I feel like that was just a Pete Carroll hang-up. But it is, I think right now it's Jalen Naylor, and the world could be his oyster. He's sitting behind a couple guys there in Minnesota. Didn't he? Basically a number 3 receiver, Justin Jefferson and stuff like that, up there in Minnesota, sitting behind guys like that. He was basically their number 3 receiver. But coming out of Minnesota, the reports were that he was the best kept secret on their roster just because he was buried on the depth chart. Now with the Raiders having nobody in the depth chart, it's perfect, right? There's no Justin Jefferson on the Raiders wide receiver depth chart. So this guy has a huge opportunity to go out there and prove himself that he can be a number 1 option. Maybe not to the point of what a Justin Jefferson is, but to the point of he's a good ball control guy, somebody that you can trust, good hands, good routes, blocking downfield, which everything that I've read about Jalen Naylor, he is. So I'm excited to see what he can do. He seems to be reliable. That's what you want. Yeah. And this person is worried about my height. Not sure why. Patrick checking in, saying hello from Australia. Good day, mate. Yeah, that was bad. I'm sorry. Thanks for checking out the show, Patrick. I appreciate it. Pap checking in again. He says, I don't watch college football at all. I just read about the players when it gets close to the draft and whatever I hear on other podcasts. And that's exactly where I'm at, Pap. Last year I had Paul Spencer on the show before the draft, and we kind of talked. I asked Paul a bunch of questions. I gave him a list of players who I thought the Raiders might target, and he kind of came back with a little bit of an analysis on a couple of the guys and who he thought the Raiders should target or who would be good for the Raiders to target. And I thought that was a pretty good show there, a good idea because Paul watches college football. He knows his shit. So. MT Powa, maybe MT Powa. Hello from Kurdistan. Hello, Kurdistan from Pennsylvania. How about that? I feel like I'm being punked. I don't know why. Anyway, back to the draft here. So I do think today the Raiders are looking defensive backfield. Just looking at the depth chart, not a whole lot going on for the Raiders depth wise. Looking at safety, Jeremy Chin, uh, Isaiah Polamau, guys like that. Jeremy Chin, good season last year, but we want to get younger. You're looking for the future. There, Polamau, I feel like underperformed last season, so yeah, I like Polamau, big hitter, but you need more. You need more, and we just weren't getting out of him. So it's pretty much Jeremy Chin's job there. Looking at cornerback, Stokes, Darian Porter. Darian Porter had a very good season last year. Stokes had a very good season last year. DCam Richardson was okay at times. So definitely cornerback, nickel cornerback is a big need there. Picking up Taron Johnson in the offseason. That's kind of a depth there for nickelback. But again, build through the draft and see what we can get. We also need linebackers, N'Kobe Dean, Quay Walker, guys we picked up in the offseason. I really would like to figure out what they're doing with Tommy Eichenberg. What are their plans here with Eichenberg? When the Raiders drafted him a couple of years ago, he was like the next big thing. And, he's somebody that resembles the Raiders of the past, tough, hard nosed, rough and tumble, fighting on the field kind of guy, within reason. And it doesn't seem like either he hasn't progressed enough or they're just not high on him. I don't know. He got some burn on special teams. That's where you'd see him mostly. He got some time on the field, but not a lot. Especially with as bad as the Raiders were last season, they weren't very good at linebacker for the most part. I would have liked to have seen him get in a little bit more. But it is what it is. We had a coaching staff last year that didn't want to put anybody in there in their correct position, and didn't want to really stray from the ultra veterans either. So it was just the whole season was a shit show last year. I'd like to take one of those Men in Black laser pens and put it in my eyeball and just wipe my brain clean from last season. It was just a complete shit show. It was terrible. So quarterback and safety definitely needs defensive tackle. You could look there as well. Looking at Jonah Laulu, he had a good season last year. Thomas Booker, pick up from Philly last year, very good. I thought he had a good season. JJ Pegues, a draft pick. I think it was the last year draft pick. Or was it the year before? I don't remember. But he played all right when he got in. Tonka Hemingway, near the end of the season, he was getting a little bit more burn. He was looking better. This is a money year for Tyree Wilson. What are we going to see out of Tyree Wilson? Where's he going to play out on the line? Is he going to, look defensive end? Is he going to be an edge rusher? Is he going to play tackle? Maybe as a bit of a speed rush. At times, I don't know. Because then that's one thing they've been doing with him the last 2 seasons is moving him inside and outside. You move him inside, and he's very undersized for defensive tackle, but he has a skill set that a normal size defensive tackle doesn't have. He's fast, he's quick, and he can get upfield. So, but when you put him in the middle of the line like that, it's easy to wash. You can kind of wash him down the line, and it's not the same as a big defensive tackle that can get in there and take up a couple blockers. And that's the one guy that is still available that I've been hearing a lot about. That if the Raiders did select him in the second round, I wouldn't be surprised, even though I don't think they should go defensive tackle in the second round. But Caden McDonald out of Ohio State, that's somebody that has a positional rank of right now of 1 overall rank of 26. And I know Q Myers from the Locked On Raiders podcast has talked a lot about him. He likes him. And I was listening to a couple interviews with Caden McDonald. I like him now. It seems like a decent person to begin with. And it seems like he's an ultra competitive dude and with high motor. So I do like that. Kind of think, oh shit, I can't think of his name right now. The defensive tackle we had for 4 games that was kissing people on the forehead that was released. What the hell's his name? I can't think of his name. Tristan, Christian Wilkinson, something like that. Yeah, Wilkinson or Wilkerson. Yeah, Christian Wilkerson. Think of somebody like that, high motor, uh, ultra competitive. Hopefully, just not as goofy assed. So that'd be a bonus if we can get a not goofy ass defensive tackle that's off kissing other teammates in the forehead or whatever the hell happened. I don't know exactly what happened, but that's what was told to us. The public. Christian Wilkinson's kissing people on the forehead in the locker room, and people are going to HR. It's a nightmare. But anyway, but that's one guy I think besides a cornerback or safety, you could see the Raiders go with their first pick in the second round. If they hold on to that pick, like again, maybe they trade back to get an extra second round pick. I don't know. I didn't really look to see the draft order for the second round to see if anybody had multiple second round picks or what have you. But maybe they pick up an extra third round pick. I don't know. This is where it starts getting squirrely when you start hitting second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh rounds, where you start seeing a buttload of trades, especially later on when it's like your fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh rounds. You see a crap load of trades, and you just can't follow it. You don't know what the hell's going on anymore. Your team was picking 115th, and all of a sudden they're 189th, and they went from 189th to 150. It's like, what the hell is going on? So, so look cornerback today, look safety with an outside chance of defensive tackle. I think it's going to be a big defense day. I think defense first today, and then you're looking the rest of the way. I think offense with a sprinkle of possibly a linebacker or defensive lineman. I think if you're looking rounds 4 and 5, I wouldn't be surprised to see a lineman in there somewhere, whether it's defense or offense, or a receiver somewhere in there. That'd be 4 or 5, maybe 6. But there's going to be trades, and they're going to end up with more picks than they have, and it's gonna. I think they have 2 4th-round picks, and there's going to be some wheeling and dealing. And again, like I said, I wouldn't be overly surprised if we did see a trade today of maybe Aiden O'Connell for a 5th-round pick, and maybe see Michael Mayer being moved today for a 3rd-round pick. I don't know. That's just spitballing, throwing that out there, seeing what sticks. And I don't want Michael Mayer traded at all. I want Michael Mayer to stay. But if it happens, it happens. But I do think they're going to try to get a multiple and a second round pick. I think something's going to happen where they're going to try to get back up into the second round, maybe late to mid second round again after they pick their first one. Pap says, how do you think the rest of the teams in the Raiders division did in the draft? To be 100% honest with you, Pap, I didn't really take notice. I was at work. So I was working last night. I worked night shift. So most of the draft I did not see. I did kind of scan through it. I did see the Chiefs move up to I think the 6th pick or something like that. So they had 2 first-round picks. Just looking at the ticker at the bottom here, they picked 29th. They picked Woods. I don't know who the hell Woods is. I don't know who that is. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a truth teller. I spit the truth. I don't know. But yeah, they did. I think they picked sixth, and so the Chiefs. I think their sixth pick was a really good cornerback. That's what the Chiefs. Uh, Delane. Is it Delane or Delaney? I feel like it's Delaney, but I could be wrong. A very good cornerback. So I feel like the Chiefs did well. The Chargers, I believe the Chargers took an edge rusher. I thought I saw another name that I do recognize, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm going to wait for the scroll to keep scrolling before I stop talking. That way I don't have any more dead air like I did earlier. I just sat there like drooling and stuff like that. My mouth open, a mouth breather and stuff like that. But yeah, the Chargers took Mesidor. So yeah, that was an edge rusher. And I didn't see. The Broncos didn't have a first round pick because the Bronco fan I work with was crying. Yeah, the Broncos don't have a first round pick. Broncos, John Elway. I'm just teasing you, guy. The boy, my buddy, my coworker, Guy. His name is Guy Ebert. I like to tease him about the Broncos, but what the hell am I teasing him about? The Broncos are much better than the Raiders, so he lets me do it though, so I appreciate it. Eddie Prather checking in. What's up, Eddie? How'd the Cowboys do? Eddie says Kenny. I said Eddie. So we got the pleasantries out of the way. How about a wide receiver? I don't think it's a pressing need, Eddie. I don't think wide receivers are a pressing need. We do need wide receivers, but I don't think you're gonna like where we're at now and what we need. I don't think we should be looking for a top tier wide receiver like Denzel Boston still available out of Washington, 6'4", 212 pounds. Big, long guy. But I don't think I think the Raiders have far more pressing needs than wide receiver right now. I do believe they will take a wide receiver sometime in this draft, but I just don't think that's that important of a need right now. This is just like running back. I do think they'll take a running back sometime in this draft, but I just look later. Just for depth. The Raiders drafted 2 wide receivers last year in Jack Besh and Deontay Thornton Jr., and we don't know what the hell we got. Last year's regime didn't want to play him. The same thing with Charles Grant and Caleb Rogers, offensive linemen. We didn't see him till the end of the season, and Caleb Rogers, played fairly well. Charles Grant got less burn, but when he did get in there, he made some mistakes, but played well and overall. So it would have been nice to see them in earlier, especially with the way the season was going. We weren't going to go anywhere, getting our dicks slapped, constantly over and over and over again. So we don't know what we have. Depth wise, we need more wide receivers, but I don't think today's the day for a wide receiver. I think today's the day for defense, defensive backfield specifically. How about that? Yeah, got that out. Mesidor is one of the guys that the Chargers drafted, that edge rusher. Caleb Downs, that's the lad I think the Chefs drafted. Eddie said Dallas gets an A. Who did Dallas draft? Did they have 2 picks? Yeah, they did some wheeling and dealing even with the Eagles, which was surprised the hell out of me. So yeah, I feel like the Cowboys had a big day yesterday. Some wheeling and dealing and moving and shimmying and shaking and whatnot. Who did Dallas get? I'm watching a ticker, Eddie. I'm watching a ticker go by here. Commanders, Styles and Saints, Tyson. I don't know who these people are. Chefs, Fano. That sounds made up. Giants. I ain't gonna try it. Cowboys Downs. Okay, so you're saying Caleb Downs went to the Cowboys? There it is. Yeah. Downs and Lawrence. The law offices of Downs and Lawrence. Call 1-800-HURT-123. Who is the Raiders' number 1 receiver? It looks like right now it's Jalen Naylor. They just picked him up from Minnesota. I kind of see what we have there. He was a number 3 in Minnesota. But playing behind Justin Jefferson and stuff like that, it's kind of hard to stand out. So we're hoping that he can stand out. Uh, Everything that I've read about Jalen Naylor, I'm not a Minnesota fan, and I don't see a whole lot of Minnesota football, so I don't know a whole lot about Jalen Naylor. But from everything I read about Jalen Naylor and highlight films that I did see, very good hands, good possession receiver, good blocker downfield. So we'll take that. We want to run the ball. But I am happy though, Eddie, that the Cowboys did well. For the likes of you and Paul and stuff like that. The NFL is better when Dallas is good and the Eagles are good, especially in my part of the world, my part of the country, because fans hate each other, and when they're both good and they're both fighting for playoff spots or positioning or playoff positioning, it's a lot more fun. It's not fun when one team's not doing well or what have you, and the other team's doing well. It sucks. So, all right. What else do I got here? I think that's about it. I don't want to get too far into it because, again, like I said, I don't watch a whole lot of college football, so I don't want to sound like an idiot talking about stuff I don't know about. But again, guys that I think the Raiders could be looking at potentially Colton Hood, Tradan Stukes, safety, D'Angelo Pons, possibly in the third round. Brandon Cisse. I don't know how to say his last name. I don't know what it is. Cornerback out of South Carolina. That guy. Potentially Keontae Scott. Maybe it's again. I don't. I look at positioning. I feel like it's going to be cornerback and safety in that order. Cornerback first pick, safety second pick. Safety's a little bit thinner depth wise. I think through the draft, especially top end anyway. So I wouldn't be too surprised if the Raiders did go safety first. Just try to get the best rated safety out there. Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo, according to ESPN, is the top ranked safety available yet. According to ESPN, I'm not a huge ESPN fan, but it's easy for me to go and look stuff up there at ESPN. They have highlight films there, and then they have breakdowns of who these people are and whatnot. And so that's where we're at with that. All right. So I'm going to head out. I'm going to cut the grass. I'm going to go to bed for a couple hours, get up. Got softball again today. See how the Raiders do tonight and go from there. And I'll come back on Monday morning and we'll talk about it. So I will be live Monday morning. No promises. I the last like 3 or 4 times I was live, I said, I promise. I banged my fist just like that, where it shook the whole screen. You can see it vibrate. You can see the whole screen shake. So I promise I'm going to be on next week on Monday, and we're going to talk about this. And I don't come on because I'm tired or I don't have time or something else happens. It is what it is. So I'm not going to promise. I'm going to try to be on Monday. I also want to get on and talk about the Mets. Again, I'm pooped. I'm tired. I love talking sports. I love talking about my teams, I should say. And but it's hard. I like sleeping too. And if I don't get enough sleep, I'm just a bear. No, but seriously, 100% seriously, I will try to get on Monday and to talk about the Raiders draft and my thoughts on it. But no guarantees. So I'll do what I can. And next Wednesday as well, I'm gonna try to get on with the Batcave. And so yeah. And hopefully the Kings win Sunday night to extend their season by one more game, down 3-0 to the Avalanche. And I'll tell you, it's tough. The Avalanche are so freaking good. Talk a little bit of hockey here real quick before I get out of here. And the Kings have played a very, very good series so far. One of the big bugaboos for the Kings this year is just haven't been able to score. And it's rearing its ugly head again. Losing game 1, 2-1, losing game 2, 2-1. Last night, 4-2, I believe it was. Just can't score. And Forsberg, Anton Forsberg, in net for the Kings has been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. You look at the four yesterday. One of those is an empty netter, but besides that, I mean, the Avalanche are far superior top end talent wise than the Kings are, and it's just wave after wave. It's just like it'll be a constant, like, two or three shifts in a row where it's just constant shot, 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 shot. Now, not all of them are making them on net, but that's all work. That's all work for Forsberg, and it's tough. The Kings defense has been phenomenal. Mikey Anderson has had a good series. I feel like Brant Carcass has had a very good series. As I've been down on Drew Doughty this season, I feel like this is probably his worst season that I've seen him have over the last few years. And but I feel like this playoff series he's been phenomenal. Uh, I love Trevor Moore's game. I think Trevor Moore's been playing very, very good at the end of the season, and that whole line, Moore, LaFerriere, and Byfield, has been phenomenal. So yes, there's a lot of things to like about the series. Just being down 3-0, it's just a foregone conclusion that the Avalanche is just a better team. So it is what it is. Once the season's over, I'll get back to, I think, talking about Kings occasionally, like, maybe like once every couple of weeks or whatever, until the season starts back up next year, and we'll see how I feel from there, and stuff like that, and see if I can go back to talking Kings weekly and whatnot. But again, I will try to be on Monday. No guarantees. I appreciate everybody for checking the show out, even if I was getting punked early on about asking what my height is, 7 times, and you're from Australia, and then you're from where else were you from? Kurdistan. Throwing the wool over my eyes here. There's a little symbol next to each one of those names, and I don't know. It's all the same symbol, so I feel like it's the same person. So that's why I feel like I'm being punked. I'm being had. This person here, how tall are you? This person here, hello from Australia. And then it's, 2 seconds later is hello from Kurdistan. Hey, you know what? Maybe I have fans. Maybe I have fans in Kurdistan. Who knows? I might be popular among Kurdistanians, if that's what they're called. I don't know. I'm handsome. At least that's what I like to think. I could be wrong. I do wear glasses, so maybe I'm just poor eyesight. That could be it. Not really sure, but I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm gonna go. So that's all I have for today. I appreciate everybody for checking it out. Be sure to check out of the Box Sports Entertainment, Facebook and YouTube at OOT Box Sports on YouTube, and on Facebook, Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. Like, follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell there on the YouTube. And we're also on the TikTok, Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. You can look us up on X, but I'm not sure. We have so many different accounts because we've been locked out or banned or what have you on X a couple times. So I don't know. I don't know what account we're even on X. It doesn't matter. So just check us out on YouTube and Facebook, and we'll go from there. All right. Thank you. And all I gotta say is just win, baby. Raiders.
Strong, let's break the mold. Chasing the stories yet untold. Passion ignites like a blazing fire. Knowledge takes us higher, higher. Out of the box where the wild ones play. We see the game in a whole new way. Living loud, hearts in motion. Sports with soul, pure devotion. Alive with endless dreams. We're more than stats, we're the in-between.